The following is an exclusive production of Minutemen Command. The Flagship Pod with your hosts, ESPN personalities Mike Corey and Rene Ingoglia, is on the air. Brought to you by Todd Fritz Roofing, with insight and info from UMass and MAC insiders. From the Command Studios, here are your hosts, Mike and Rene.
What's going on, everybody? Rene, can you believe this? This is like the fourth month. We've been doing this for 4 months now.
I know, it's unbelievable. And if you hear a little thunder in the background, it is absolutely storming right now in Orlando. It hasn't rained in like a month. So now it's like coming hard. So you might have some dog barks in the background, but all's good, all's well.
Yeah, how the dog's doing, man? I feel bad for you. I saw you got scratched the other day, like he's jumping up on you and stuff.
We have one, Murphy. He's a full-size golden doodle. He's a great water dog, loves the water. But he's one of those ones where he'll just jump on you. And I don't know, like some dogs think like you're drowning, I guess. So I was playing with a toy with him, and I knew he does this, but he was up on my top ledge, and I didn't think he was going to do it. I just went under for a second, and when I came up, he had hit me. It was like getting hit by a linebacker. I'm just glad he didn't like scratch my eye or my face. He got my chest pretty good.
That wouldn't be good when the season's
all good though.
Yeah. I got to deal with the 4 cats, so I'm working on
cats
that.
Do not like the water, so you're good there.
Yeah.
How about that hair? I like your hair. You're growing it out.
I get a little growing it out a little bit.
It's like like John Travolta in the heyday or something.
Yeah,
like
I didn't really do it tonight, but I'm working on finding the right product. But we're growing it out. Found a good hairdresser here in the new town, so yeah, I think we're in good shape.
Hey, so you talked about how long we've been.
It's really annoying me.
We've been talking about how long we've been doing the pod. How about first week of training camp for college is basically done?
I know.
Unreal. I mean, it's how we're so close to this season kicking off, man. I'm excited. So what we're going to do is we figured, okay, 1 week of training camp is over. Let's bring someone that was on the ground in Amherst. So our very own Christian McCollum was there, watched practice. So we're going to get his take of what he saw in week 1 and maybe go through a couple position groups. And there he is.
What's up, guys?
What's going on, brother?
I'm up in Roque Bluffs, Maine. I think that this is going to be on location, we'll say. This has got to be the furthest north and furthest east we'll ever have any kind of guest from. We are down east Maine. So as far east Maine goes, we're at the bottom of that. Up here is a little family vacation. My folks live up here, so we're up here for the week.
Yeah, no, that's you are way up there for sure. What does your shirt say there? What is that? I wagered today?
This is I wagered today. This is my stamp for every day. I have placed wagers this morning. Even from Maine, we got a couple sports books up here that are legal, so I have wagered today.
How come you didn't ask me what my shirt says?
What do you got there, Rene?
What do you got?
Mike's not even paying attention.
No, I see it. I can't see it.
What that says right there,
Pray
baby.
more, worry less.
Pray more, worry less. We can all use that as a country.
We could.
It's a little more impactful than mine.
You got the church group going on every week, which is good.
Yeah, gotta stay in touch. So let's get into football though. So Christian, you were there, you're on the ground. Just give us your overall first vibe sense. I know, they got there Monday and I don't think they started practice until Wednesday. They kind of eased into it, but just give us your overall sense of what you saw.
Yeah, I had a chance to be around the team, throughout the spring. So I got a good look at, the guys, but you get back out in the summer. One of the things is, they're no longer getting used to the new coaching staff. They know what they're supposed to do. They're moving a little quicker, not quick enough for Coach Harris-Simiak. He didn't like the way they were moving in between drills. But a lot of fans are like wondering what's changed about UMass, and obviously the coaching staff's changed. Mm-hmm. But I mean, the roster is new. Like half of the 2 deep is pretty much new guys. So, if UMass fans are looking for reasons that expect something different, I mean, you got different players, and these guys are hungry out there. So, good day. It was hot. I mean, I won't lie. There was a lot of water breaks, a lot more water breaks these days, Rene, I'm sure you know, than back when we played. And there might not be water breaks. And I was ducking for cover during every water break, hiding underneath the bleachers, get some shade. It was hot.
And they don't even have true two-a-days anymore. They're just kind of concocted a little different, but I'm not going to be that get off my grass guy.
No, you're not on the grass, but you guys went to town back then, man, right? I mean, it was like nobody even like this stuff, which is very important. Actually, we don't want people, keeling over and stuff, which, God forbid, there's been some issues. But but they were all over you guys. Like, no, come on, suck it up. You're throwing up, right? You're doing 2 a days. Like,
even in the 90s, and me and Christian were talking about this a couple of days ago, and I'm sure the technology is a lot better now, but we had there was an instrument that the trainer used, and it has to do with the heat and humidity and the temperature. And if it hit a certain degree, then we couldn't practice with pads. Quick story real quick, because we always talk about Coach Reed, the great Jim Reed, love him. Yeah. My first year, my freshman year, Jim Lignon was the trainer, and he tested it one day, and it was too hot to practice. So everyone was all excited. No pads. Coach Reed goes, oh, yeah, in the stadium. So we didn't practice, but we ran stadium steps in our cleats for like an hour instead of practicing. And then in the afternoon, we went out because, we had true 2-a-days back then where you hit both days. I mean, the first week or so, you were so sore. But listen, people always ask about fundamentals and tackling. Like, it's the principle of specificity. You get good at something by doing it. If you want to be a good tackler, you better tackle, right? And I'm not talking about some, bag or some donut they use now. And I get it. There is a safety component, and you got to juggle that. But the coaches that still are physical with their teams and are able to manage it with their health, I think, have the most successful seasons. I really do. And I know Joe Harris-Simiak is like that.
Well, didn't you say something before, Renee? Because I remember we were talking about like injuries last year for something, and you said like if you are worried about getting hurt or whatever, you're going to get hurt. Like, what I'm saying? Like, why can't you, like you said, play it the way you're going to play it? I mean, I get it. You want to protect guys and not get them hurt. But, like, if you don't hit or you don't get used to that or you don't do it, then all of a sudden you go to game speed and they get your ass kicked, right? Yeah. I mean, it's like, I don't know. I just think, like, it'd be better to do a little bit more of that.
And I think, not most coaches, some coaches, though, they'll go 2 or 3 periods where – they'll go full contact. Obviously you're not going to hit the quarterbacks, but up front, you gotta know what you have up front. So a lot of them will go ones versus ones, D-line, O-line, and get after it a little bit. And I'm curious, did you see any of that, Christian?
They weren't going too crazy. They were just in the skeletons, the spiders, Joe calls them shorts. So there wasn't a lot. I mean, they did go team, and they went 11 on 11, but it was,
this is the week. This is the week they're going to get more physical. There's no doubt they're easing into it. Let me ask you, because the $1 million question everyone wants to know, and it is, it's the most important position. I don't think you can really argue about it. Quarterback. Tell us what you saw at quarterback, and give us your observations. And granted, first couple days, very early, but you saw these guys in spring, so give it to us.
Yeah, obviously the first time we got a chance to see Brandon Rose out there, the transfer from Utah, who got hurt last November. He sat out the spring with a foot injury, which he suffered when he was at Utah. Obviously a highly touted kid coming in from Power 4 school where he started a game, looked good in that game, big-time name. He's got some familiarity with Coach Bajakian. So a lot of expectations for Brandon Rose. I got to say, for me personally, he fulfilled them, right? Like, he throws a great ball. He moves around very well. You got a chance to just see him a little bit the final practice of the spring. He wasn't out there, but he was doing some agilities, and I was really impressed then. But just the way he has a command of the offense, he has a great throw, and he's got like that moxie, right? He really kind of has that swagger, that confidence about him. I was told all 3 quarterbacks looked extremely well in OTAs all summer. Both A.J. Harrison and Grant Jordan looked even better than coaching staff thought. It's a battle, but right now, if you're asking me right now, in the first week of August, who's going to be the starting quarterback, me personally, I would be surprised if it wasn't Rose.
Yeah. I mean, you got to have the parts around him, though, too, right, guys? I mean, come on. I mean, that's the thing. Like, and that's where I want to get to. It's like offensive line and even running backs, too, of like, being able to pass protect and make sure, you give this guy time because you got to have it. I mean, you know what I mean? We can talk all we want about him, but if they don't have it up front.
No, listen, I've said it a million times. You've heard me say it, Mike. I say it on the air. Every coach, I don't care how good your skill is. You build your teams from the inside out. You have to have interior line play, offense and defense. So with that said, I know there wasn't a lot of, contact, but what was your first thought? We'll start with offensive line. What was your first thought watching the offensive line?
They're bigger. They're bigger, even bigger than they were in the spring, right? Because they've added some guys. They've added Michael Entwistle. They've added Kyle Brown. They've added Zach Franks. Franks, especially from Northwestern, is a big dude. And they've obviously had some other, transfers come in the spring. That's something that Joe Harris-Simiak mentioned right away. He said, dumb it down all you want, right? I know football is played by big people, so you need bigger people. They've got bigger people. As you said, Rene, it's hard to really get a gauge on exactly how well these guys are doing, especially even when they go ones. It's like, are they doing great, or is the D-line terrible, or vice versa? The one thing I always say about the offensive line is, the position coach, Kurt Anderson, he's a real coach. He's a real deal guy. He's going to get, he's going to maximize the talent of that unit. And, you get a couple guys from the Ivy League, they're going to pick stuff up quick. You get Franks from Northwestern. He has the familiarity with Coach Bajakian and Coach Anderson. So there's some cohesion there that you like to see. And, we're just going to have to see. That's going to be the question going into the season for me as well.
Yeah, that's what I like about having these connections, right? You know what I'm saying? It wasn't just like, they seem to be very seek it out. It's not just like, I got these guys in the pool.
Anderson's here because of Bajakian. So
Right. Which you need, as opposed to just like, hey, just grab these guys in the portal. No, we got to have a connection. This staff is doing that, right? They are trying to build a group, that wants to play hard and work together, and hopefully can, like we said, police themselves out there in the locker room and want to be, there for each other and not have to be like pushed all the time.
Yeah, and they're on the same wavelength. So that's what I mean with Anderson and Bajakian coached together. Yeah. Their mindset's the same, And Christian, I know I'm about to jump back, but I just want to say something about the quarterback battle. So Brandon Rose, right, started a game in the Power Four. So it seems like he's everything we think he should be. Grant Jordan, we know what kind of career he had in the Ivy League, right? So you got a lot of experience there. And then AJ Harrison, I think the kid's a stud. So is it safe to say, I know right now early, Rose looks great. You said Rose. From where we really have three guys that are capable of being starters, though. Am I correct there?
They'd be comfortable with any of the three starting. Each one of them has shown the ability even more than the coaching staff anticipated. Grant Jordan's kind of that dual threat who can beat you with his arms and make some athletic plays. AJ Harrison has elite level arm talent. And I think that arm talent's even more impressive than the coaching staff expected it to be. And he's a guy that they really knew. They even knew when they came in that they needed to keep him in the program. And then when they got a chance to look at him, they liked him even better than they did on film. So, Grant Jordan's obviously a grad transfer. This is, his last year. But, whether or not Brandon Rose ended up being the starting quarterback, I think the goal is to have AJ Harrison be the quarterback in the future for that program.
Well,
good problem to have.
Yeah, well, they're going to push each other. Like you said, I love that. You know what I mean? And sometimes the way quarterbacks are moving around in the portal, you have one that everyone kind of knows, okay, he's a starter. And then we got a couple other guys, and no one's really getting pushed. It seems like in this, all three are going to push each other. And again, AJ Harrison, as you said, the future, you don't want to lose him right in the portal. So you kind of got to juggle that situation too. So
yeah, I was gonna say, you think they try to come up with maybe a couple packages or something for him, just to get him out there, right? I mean, I hate to talk like that, where it's like, well, if he doesn't play, he's so good, he's just gonna leave. Like, no, remember Rene, kind of waiting your turn and working hard and knowing you're gonna, I mean, is that
those days are gone?
Yeah, they're gone. I mean, but it's like, can you keep them involved, right, Christian? Is there like some sort of
Well, I always say, for whatever reason, they're going to need to play multiple quarterbacks every season, right? Someone's helmet's going to pop off, someone's going to get a twisted ankle, something's going to happen, someone's going to get hurt. Anything can happen. So you're going to need multiple quarterbacks throughout the season anyways. And even if it's just for a game and a half, a series here, a series there, that's going to be enough for him to show that he can play in this offense. And that he, has the ability to see a future there, because they really do love AJ Harrison, and they expect him to be a part of their program for a long time.
How about the vibe, over there, like with the players, sideline, when they're in, when they're out? Like, what are you gathering from that? That's what's most interesting to me, just in terms of like where I could see this season being successful, like the vibe from the players interacting with each other. What did you gather from that?
Well, I think the big thing is there's a lot of energy. And the thing I liked seeing is now it's getting to be competitive, right? There's a lot of jawing back and forth. A lot of guys that are out making sure they're paying attention and letting that guy on the other side of the ball know every time they make a mistake. And then they're sticking up for their guy. If they're on the sidelines, they're going back and forth. That's what you want. That's a competitive atmosphere, and that's going to just raise everyone's level up. But at the same time, like Rene, you mentioned the locker room video last week.
Yeah.
I asked Coach Harasimiak about that. That's the kind of stuff you need. Like, these guys need to know that they're at a big time program. That's what Harasimiak said. It shows that all the, investments that everyone's talking about, which is literally financial dollars, it's not just, fairy tale. It's not just talk. That stuff's being invested in the program. It shows the players that the people in charge believe in them. And that means a lot.
No, for sure. And just, again, the vibe feels different. It looks different. And, the other thing a lot of guys mentioned, and I want you to comment on this, just, the off season, the lifting and running regimen, like I'm hearing everyone's, because now everyone wears the monitors, 21 miles an hour, 21.2, 22. Yeah. Seems like a lot more speed that probably we've ever seen before.
Yeah, Coach Harasimiak said that. That's the thing he was most impressed with was, how fast everyone had got. Like you said, this is all data now. There's no eyeballing it. My stopwatch says this and that. None of that, right? So this is real, raw, accurate data. T.Y. Harden mentioned it as well. These guys are moving now. And a lot of the credit goes to the strength coach, George Green. I'm sure you guys know this, but those strength coaches are so overlooked. They're such an important part of a program. Those are the guys that are with them all the time, and they're going to build your players. Yeah. And he's done an amazing job getting these guys. And the other thing is, I thought it was crazy when I heard the nutrition. These guys were just eating like on their own on campus. Like, I didn't know what Harasimiak was going to say the other day when he was talking about it. And he just said, that's not Division I football. It's not. It's not. Right. And those are the changes that are going to make a big difference, and they'll make immediate differences.
Especially UMass, it's voted like one of the top dining schools.
No, it's number one, dude. It's number one.
So they have the ability, without even really breaking a budget, to be able to get nutrition properly to all their athletes. So it's not.
See, this is what's exciting about this. Like, we could talk all we want, and we already have about last year and what happened in the past. But it's like these things weren't even in place. So it's like it's so exciting to be like, hey, it's not just a play on the field. It's like, you're right. It's nutrition. It's the locker room. It's like on campus. It's like there's like so many different things that he's raising the level of. To your point, Christian, about like this is a Division I football team. Like, I don't think it just didn't seem as, I hate to say it, I don't mean to blast the opposing stats, but it's like not as important, some of these things. They're all important. It's like it's got to happen, and you're not going to – think about the real-time data, right, Rene? Back in the day, you can kind of be like, nah, man, or coach or whatever. It's like you can't argue with the numbers now. If he tells you something like, like, oh, shit, you're right. It's like it's the numbers,
No,
so
a lot more data, a lot more stuff. Now, you mentioned T.Y. Harding, so let's go to the wide receivers. Talk about T.Y. and maybe some other guys, or what about the unit in total?
I've asked a bunch of sources in Amherst, like, how good can T.Y. Harden be? I've seen him up close in spring ball. Looks like a version-ish of Tyreek Hill, not Tyreek Hill fast, but he's not playing in the NFL. He's playing in the MAC. So a lot of guys told me he'll be one of the fastest people in the MAC whenever he's on the field. He's that guy. He can catch his stop and just go. He can catch a bubble and go, or he can make plays down the field. Also, you can put him in the slot. He can run mesh routes over the middle, return, zigs, whatever you want. Get him the ball. And he was just named to the Horning watch list as one of the nation's most versatile players in the country. He's a guy, I think they're going to feed him. Like, a lot of people in Amherst are shocked about how underutilized he was in his career there. They're going to feed him the ball. But, a lot of those same people I've talked to, they feel just as high in Jaquan Gibson. Similar style players, T.Y. Harding, another guy that's been there for a few years now. They have an experience in the program. He's right there with T.Y., and T.Y. will tell you that too. And then on the outside, you look at the three transfers they brought in, Jake McConaughey, Tyree Kelly, and then the latest one is Donnie Gray, another guy from Northwestern. Real familiarity with Coach Bajakian's offense. He didn't get there till the summer.
Bigger guys on
these
the
guys
outside.
are all 6'2", 6'3", 6'5". So, and the thing they want these guys to do is they really want them to make contested catches, right? They're fast, but they're not T.Y. Harding, and they're not Jaquan Gibson getting open. They're going to be on the outside. They're going to go one-on-one, 50-50 balls. You got to come down with them, right? Your share of them. If they do, that's going to bring a new dimension to this offense. So they really feel good about that room right there with those 5 guys. And then there's some younger guys too.
The hardest thing to do in football, and we talk about it, you watch games every week, is tackle a really good athlete in space one-on-one. So it's not rocket science. You have a T.Y. Harding, you have a Gibson, to your point. Get him the bubble screens, get him some, some end arounds, get them the ball, just get the ball in their hands in space and let them go, man. And it's going to be a big year for those guys. There's no doubt.
How come you haven't talked about your position yet, Randy? Running back.
Well,
what do we got there?
That's what we got left. Well, I know Rocco Griffin. The funny thing is, I've seen Rocco Griffin in person because at UTSA a few years ago, I had one of his games. So I've actually seen him. They didn't utilize him a ton there, but I have seen him in person. But it looks like he's going to be the starter. But will it be more by committee, Christian? What are you thinking? Or is he going to get the lion's share of the carries? What's the talk?
I feel like everyone in the country has to be running back by committee these days, right? There's so many, and the thing about that is that might be the one position where you don't have to worry about a guy leaving if he just gets 12 to 15 touches, because if his goal is to go to the NFL, you don't want to waste all those touches. You want to be fresh when you get the chance. So, I think it'll be by committee. I think Griffin will be the lead guy. Harris Simiak talks all the time about how he trusts them. He trusts them to take care of the ball. He's the kind of guy he'd let watch his. If the head coach can let you babysit his kids, he's trusting you with the football too. So he's going to be kind of the lead guy. But then you got Jawan Price coming in. He's a kid that was at New Mexico State. He was at Syracuse. He was at North Texas. He is huge. He is a big dude, right? So he's going to be able to come in, take a big share of those carries as well. And then the other guy that I'm really excited about right now is Brandon Hood. He was at Colorado for a year as a freshman, transferred into UMass. And they say he has something the other two don't have in terms of go, right? He brings some explosion. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. So my guess is those 3 you're going to see kind of, carry the lion's share of it there.
It's going to be exciting, man, come Temple, just because of all the different parts that you're talking about. It's like, you can't get everybody involved right off the bat from day one, but it sounds like, from what you're talking about, there's like a ton of depth. At every position, so it's not just like, oh, here's the one guy, no, it's good. A lot of people competing.
And again, it's essentially a new team, new coaching staff, a lot of new players. And this isn't like just, a UMass thing. This is college football today with the portal and the way coaches bring, so if you're a fan of a team out there that was 3-9 last year, 2-10, 4-8, and you add pieces and maybe you got a new coaching staff, you feel like, okay, we can do that 180 that we talk about, go to a bowl game, where in years past, it's like, oh man, it's going to take us 3-4 years to dig ourselves out of that. Those days are gone. So there's a new excitement, I think, for college football in large for teams that haven't been good, but especially UMass. There's no doubt about it.
Let's go the other side, right? Defense, and then obviously special teams down the line. It's like those are some of the areas we talked about before where it's like, a missed tackle, a missed play, blah, 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 boom, it's a touchdown. Oh, it's an 80-yard, this and that. We saw it last year. Have you seen any big-time plays, that the defense has led up so far in this preseason? I mean, I know it's early, but are they containing, or what's it looking like?
The defensive backs may be the most experienced and deepest on that unit. Am I wrong there, or what?
Yeah, I think that the DBs, I think the secondary is so deep. You guys talked to Malcolm Green before the spring game. Yeah. He's going to be that kind of guy that can play that star position, that nickel back kind of position where he can do it all. I was really impressed with him this spring. I've been really impressed with him. The other transfer came in that I know me and Dave Bowden broke down his film when he came in, Zeron Daniel from Georgetown. And he's just an absolute freak. And I almost feel like he gets overlooked. And so I asked the guy, last week, what about Daniel? He seemed like he's a stud. We've seen him. He's a pro. He's a future pro. So they have guys that are NFL caliber players on this team. Zeron Daniel's one of them. And then they got guys in the secondary that can kind of lock down. They got lockdown corners. They've got taller corners, who can match up. They should give them a lot of flexibility. But those safeties back there, I think, are the ones that kind of lead the way.
And you didn't even mention D.D. Snyder's a kid that transferred from Ball State, a ton of experience, especially in the MAC. So I really like the back end of that defense.
Absolutely.
Hey, I mean, getting some of these, like, the notoriety, right? I mean, think about it. It's not like they haven't had, over the years, they've had a few guys go to the NFL. But, I mean, just to be like, hey, that's huge. I mean, that just shows what he's doing. Like, if we can get a guy like that, a guy comes through the program, and then, at the end of the year, like we said, hey, goals to get to the bowl game, get a couple guys, maybe going to the next level. It's like, that's what's going to, like, change the culture. Like, I mean, Harris Simiak's doing a lot right now. We haven't even played a game yet. But it just sounds like how much the culture is changing. That's what I'm most excited about too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I like that mix. Like I said, the mix in the deep, like, they have a tall corner in Bo Barnes, and they have, TJ McGee. He was just like absolutely a lockdown corner in, spring ball. He's a smaller guy, so he's not going to be the guard. He's not going to put him on Jeremiah Smith or anybody like that.
Yeah.
But if you have your version of T.Y. Harden,
so.
yeah, no one's got him. But if you have your version of T.Y. Harden, TJ's the kind of guy you can put on him, and that guy's just like almost neutralized. And if you have a big guy that's killing everyone, you can put someone like Bo Barnes on him. So there's just a lot of pieces that work there.
All right, how about let's go defensive front and linebackers. I know we lost our leading tackler, ironically, right? Transferred to Temple, so we'll see him week 1. But give us the defensive front. What's going on up there?
Yeah, so your linebacker, you got Darian Craig. He's always making plays. He's all over the field. Tyler Martin is a mainstay at UMass, a Massachusetts kid. That linebacker that you can trust. He's going to be in the right place. He's going to make a tackle. And then you got Timmy Hinspeeder. I know, Mike, you were talking earlier about these connections. Timmy was recruited by Harris Simiak and Kite. He was at Rutgers. As soon as Harris Simiak left, he's like, man, I want to go. I want to follow you, coach. So, like, he knows what's going on. Then you look up front to the D-line. You got Josh Nobles is a DN. He's the guy that everyone talked about, almost like he's the closest thing to a pro that they have in the entire program, right? So he's just the guy that can make a huge impact rushing the passer. Then you got guys like Tim Grant Randall, maybe a little undersized in the middle, but I don't mind those little undersized guys that, in the interior that, get up underneath and make plays. And, David Nwanu, they have a lot of guys there that really can, wreak havoc. But, like I said about the offensive line, defensive line is similar. Like, it's kind of a tug of war. Who's winning, who's losing. So that's kind of, I would say offensive line is my biggest question mark on offense. And maybe linebacker, how many of those guys can really play sideline to sideline is going to be the biggest question. And defensive line, they have enough guys to make some splash plays, but will they be able to hold up if a team really wants to just run the ball?
Yeah, that's the biggest question that we're going to see early too, because Temple's going to run the ball. There's no doubt about it. And then the one bugaboo, like we always talk about, how his special teams looked. Give us your opinion on what you've seen early from that unit.
Yeah, I mean, we've said it since day one of spring practice. In terms of the specialist, you guys love the punter, Keegan, right? Yeah. He's great. He's an Australian punter from the SEC. He's a big dude, and he boots the ball. We couldn't even tell you how good he was for the first 2 weeks of spring because all he did was hit the ceiling, right? So that's great.
In the bubble,
and then all the kickers, I don't know. I think the kicker is going to be Derek Morris, but Marcus Lai, the other guys I've seen, they don't miss. They don't seem to miss, right? And from wherever they are now, it's a lot easier when you're doing it in practice, especially in the bubble for spring. But I'm sure Coach Harris Simiak and Coach Castellito will be putting them in pressure situations, and it's hard to mimic a packed November game where maybe a bowl game's on the line. But I mean, Rene, a lot of times they make these kickers kick for the team. Team's not running sprints.
Whether they're going to run or not, or they get out of meetings early. I mean, there's a lot of pressure you can put on them for sure.
Yeah. And if you're in a competition, there's pressure there too, right? Yeah. So you're kicking for your job. So these guys will be put under pressure, but that's one thing that's there's no doubt about it. I think everyone agrees the specialists are going to be much better. And, I know you guys reference Coach Castellito all the time, just a top notch. He's going places. He's a special teams coordinator.
He's got so many schemes. You're going to see so many different things. There's nothing vanilla about Joe Castellito and what he does with special teams. And we didn't even mention T.Y. Harding's going to be back there returning punts, I'm sure, and probably kickoffs for that matter. So maybe get more touches in those guys' hands that are explosive like that. The only position group we didn't touch on, and I want to because I don't want people to think we're just ignoring it. Tight ends. Anything from that unit?
Well, I'll tell you this. I've been playing the EA Sports. Me and Mike talked about it. And Owen Anderson, he's a first-team All-American after one season. I think it might be my system, my scheme that features the tight end a lot. So if he's half as good as he is for me in the game, he'll be fine. He's looked great. The one guy I really am really excited to see is Matthew Ogani. He's another transfer from Rutgers. I was talking to some guys at practice the other day. This guy's a freak. He is so tall and he's fast, but he's not like tall guy that doesn't look fast. He's tall guy that flies. So he's
a little banged up though, right? What's his?
He was. I don't know if he's dealing with something. He didn't participate in team. He didn't go through everything, but he was out there. But I mean, he's the kind of guy, and we know this with UMass.
He's a power 4 tight end.
He's a power 4 tight end. When he gets out there, if he plays a full season and they feature him, he's one and done at UMass because he's that good. Which is what you want, right? Like
that's the world we live in now. You have to accept that.
Yeah. You're not going to have a first round draft, an obvious, not to say this kid's an obvious first round draft pick, right? But you're not going to, at UMass, if you have a kid that comes in and he's a sophomore and he looks like a no doubt NFL guy, you're not keeping him. That's okay. Use him. He's going to help your program get better, and you'll help you recruit the next guy that say, hey, man, you got overlooked by the big boys. We know that. You come here, we'll put you back where you belong.
Yeah, well, and here's the other thing. Just getting that player to begin with. Like, I mean, hello, that's huge, So, okay, we would love him more than 1 year, but just to be able to get him for the 1 year, like you said, there's a lot of positives, of course, that's going to happen in the residual. But, I mean, this is good. I mean, here we are. We're in August, man. We're getting there. We're going to get Coach on, too, pretty soon to talk to him because we got to hear from him on what's coming up this year.
Yeah, we got to work on getting Coach on. Well, I think Ryan Bamford, I think it'd be good to get the athletic director on and talk to Ryan about how he feels things are going. And guys, 22 days away until the Temple game. I mean, it is like right here, man. It is right here.
Christian, great stuff, man. Thanks for the whole breakdown.
Enjoy May. Need some lobster for us, will you? Up there,
that's
Christian?
Tomorrow. We have a lobster feed tomorrow at the house.
Get the lobster. Yeah. Awesome.
All right,
Thanks,
buddy.
Mikey.
Great job. Great breakdown, Christian. Thanks. Mikey.
Yeah.
See you, buddy.
All right, man. Have a great week.
You too.